I guess we just start. Hyper Talkative.
Oh God, Ruby. What's up? What is going on? Oh my God. Season 3 of Hyper Talkative Podcast.
It's happening.
I've never been more excited for anything in my life.
Honestly,
like
me neither. And I don't think that anyone else has either.
I think this is the biggest thing,
most exciting thing to ever happen
to
in the
anyone
history of the world.
Yeah.
Ever.
Wow, guys. It's literally Ruby and I were just talking. It feels like it's been 6,000 years since we've last recorded an episode.
Yeah. And it might have been.
I think, yeah. Well, if you do the math.
It's been
comes
around
out to
6,000 years.
5,900 something. Rounded up 6,000. That seems correct. But wow. Does it feel good to be back?
Yeah. I missed this
right
so
where we
much.
left off.
Right where we left off. Right where we ended.
Right where we ended up.
Last time.
And
we're here.
We're here. We have so many stories to share.
So many updates.
We can only hope that they'll come up in conversation.
Yeah.
But
we
don't
see,
know.
Because we don't rig the show.
At
the end of the day, that's what it's all about.
Not rigging the show.
We don't rig.
No.
So.
I
guess.
How are you guys?
Yeah.
Actively respond out loud. Awesome.
Wow, great.
Great.
Or
we hope it gets better.
Yeah,
and it will.
It will.
Because this is season 3 of Hyper Talkative Podcast.
It's back.
And better than ever, as always.
I hope you guys like our new cover.
Yes.
Hope you like the new promos we've been doing.
Yes. I know I do.
We had a lot of fun.
A lot of fun.
Look What You Made Me Do by Taylor Swift was on repeat.
Like literally on repeat.
Man I Am from Barbie was on repeat.
Also on repeat.
Dance the Night from Barbie was on repeat.
We were having a grand old time.
We were. And here we are now.
Also having a grand old time.
Yes.
New thing for season 3, as you probably can tell, Ruby and I are a little bit busier than before. Just a bit.
Just a tad.
Just a tad. So we will be posting episodes monthly. And it's going to be the first Friday of every month.
Yes. Hopefully everyone is okay with that. If you're not, sorry, suck it up.
It also gives you more time to catch up.
Yeah, we know that some of you are still behind the first 2 seasons.
But we've been... just every so often we like to check on our stats.
Yeah.
We've been looking at our stats this summer. You guys have been binging like crazy. I don't know if you miss us or what, but like we were blushing.
We were
kicking and giggling.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy.
So that's why we came back.
Yeah. We said, okay, fine. One more season. Just one. Just kidding.
Well, I was like, oh.
No. Eternity. Hyper Talkative will never end.
Anyways. So I think we should do just a little quick recap on what our summers looked like.
Okay, yeah.
We both had really fun, cool summers.
We did.
And I think it's only right to talk about them.
I feel like you guys also want to hear about them.
Yeah. Duh. I mean, I hope so.
You have to want to. Sorry, we don't make
Georgia,
the rules.
why don't you go first?
All right. Hi, guys. My name's
Georgia
Georgia Hall.
This can be our question.
Okay, perfect, yeah.
What did you do this summer?
My name's Georgia Hall. What did I do this summer? Not really much.
Not much.
I turned 21, which has been super cool. Me up in the clubs.
No.
Getting a dirty Shirley.
Drinking a twee.
Drinking a twisted tea. No, my summer was the best summer of my life. Sorry to be dramatic. I spent the summer in New York City.
New York.
The Big Apple. And I was an intern for CNN. The cable news network. What is life? What is life? I literally still can't believe it. I worked. So if you remember literally last season, which is so crazy to think about, just the way we were talking last season, my bucket list was to get an internship.
Mm-hmm.
And I did. I had one with Lancaster Distilleries, and then I'm delusional, so I'm sure I talked about it.
You probably did.
Last season. I'm delusional, so I was like, I'm going to get an internship in New York. And no one believed me. I didn't even believe me.
I believed you.
Oh, Ruby. That's why it happened.
Yeah.
So I applied to a bunch of different internships. I think I probably applied to 15, and then come March, I was like ready to give up. I was like, this is I'm not meant to have a good life, and that's fine. Not everyone is. And then one fateful day, I received a one-sided interview for CNN. So then I got this email that was like, we want an interview with you. And I was like, okay, did the interview, got a second interview, and then got the call that evening that I received the position, and I was throwing up.
It was crazy.
It's like we
were going to the movies.
It's one of my favorite life moments.
What did we, Mario?
I didn't tell a lot of people that I got the interview just in case I didn't get it.
Yeah.
And so we all were going to see Mario that night. And I got an email from the hiring person at Warner Brothers. I was like, can we call you tonight? And I was like, yeah. And so I was like, guys, like I might be late to the movie. I'm going to get a really important call tonight. So whatever. And
we all started texting privately.
Time passed.
We were like, is it happening?
Well, time passed, and my friend Hunter was like, all right, we're on our way. All my friends are in the car. Ruby was going to meet us there. Mm-hmm. So all my friends are in the car. I was the last one to get picked up. As soon as Hunter texted me, I'm here, I got the call. Mm-hmm. So I picked up the phone and I texted. I was like, I just got the call. Like, hang on. And so I was like on the phone. Meanwhile, like you guys were like spamming the group chat.
Is it good or bad? Is it bad?
And they were like, I sent a text. I was like, leave. I'll meet you there. Mm-hmm. And they were like, but is it a good leave? We'll meet you there, or a bad? Because if it's a bad, we can stay and just like do something else. And I was like, no, it's good. And so like they were freaking out, but I was still on the phone. So I was like, one word answers, like I was kind of annoying about it. And then I was like, I got the internship, and you guys had all been, or you stopped and got flowers and a card.
Yes.
And they signed the card, and I like pulled in the parking lot, and they were like cheering, and it was really cute. And then we watched the Mario movie.
Yeah.
God, anyways, Jesus. All of that to say, I spent the summer in New York working at CNN in Hudson Yards, New York. I was the CNN audio product intern. So I literally did podcasting stuff with CNN, which is just like so crazy to think about, because point blank, I wouldn't have gotten it without this podcast.
Yeah.
So like now more than ever, it just means a lot to me that this podcast exists. But yeah, shout out to my sister Emily and her fiance Owen, because I lived with them for the whole summer and they didn't want to kill me, I don't think.
Guys.
And they were just the best roommates in the world. And
we'll
talk more about it later as it comes up in conversation. But Ruby, what have you been up to this summer?
So hi, my name is Ruby. Last time you guys talked to me, I was interning.
That's crazy.
That is. Last time you guys talked to me, I was interning for Governor Josh Shapiro. And this podcast has really covered my whole journey with him. Like, we started it and I was doing Students for Shapiro stuff, and then, the inauguration stuff, and then the intern stuff.
Yeah.
So I am in a new position now within the Shapiro administration. If you're a Pennsylvania resident, hello.
Cheers.
So the governor has 6 advisory commissions, which basically just kind of, advise him on their respective communities and like the policy and legislation that affects them. And so I'm the executive director of the Next Generation Commission, which is brand new.
Literally right up Ruby's alley.
Very fun. So I just get to interact with young people, and I have a group of commissioners that I manage and host events and attend events, and it's so much fun. So I spent most of my summer in Harrisburg, which I enjoy, at the beautiful capital of Pennsylvania.
So true.
And just, did a lot of stuff, went to Pittsburgh Pride with the governor, hosted events, just talked to stakeholders. It was pretty crazy.
Pretty massive.
I mean, I'm still in the role.
Good.
And I will be for the foreseeable future. So only up from here. And I'm graduating early now. I'm graduating in December, but I'm walking in May so I can walk with
grad
matching
caps.
Gaps. So that's why we're so busy.
Right. As you can imagine.
Georgia is staying on.
Oh, yes. Yeah. So my internship was extended into the fall.
Yes.
So I'm still working for CNN, just remotely. I did forget to say that.
And I'm still working for the governor.
And we're still taking classes.
Yeah,
we
are still students.
We still have social lives.
Somewhat.
You know.
Yeah.
So because of that, you one episode
a month.
Get used to it.
Anyways.
All right.
Is it time?
It's time.
Oh my god.
All right. Random word generator, wordcounter.net. Generate random word. Let's go. Grain. Just makes me think of whole grain.
Just makes me think of gluten.
Oh, and you're low-key.
So I tried being gluten-free.
Because you thought that was the issue.
Because I thought that was the issue.
Right.
It's not the issue.
What's the
Guys,
issue?
My whole summer has been spent at the doctor.
True.
I've been doing a lot of doctor's appointments.
She lied when she said it was Harrisburg. It's been the doctor's office.
It turns out that I have dangerously high cholesterol.
Just girly things.
So that's a thing. So I've spent a lot of time at the doctor. Gluten was not the issue for my stomach. I had to do a series of testing.
Mm-hmm.
Including
What kind of testing,
some
Ruby?
blood testing.
Awesome.
And I had to do some stool testing.
And what does that mean?
That's when you have to poop in a bowl.
Yeah.
For lack of better words, I had to take a little dump in a little plastic bowl. And I'm sorry that we're starting this out so gross. I'm not going to elaborate, but I had to do some testing. And, one of the most humbling moments of my life was going to drop off those stool tests.
Yeah.
Because I walk in. It's the hospital I was born at. So I'm like...
Full circle moment, for
circle.
Real. Oh, that's so
I walk
special.
in with my little poo cups in a bag. And you know that the girl working there...
Didn't you have to put it in your freezer?
Yes, I did have to freeze it. And then bring it in the next day before a different doctor's appointment.
Right.
And I walk in and you know that the last thing that this girl wants to do is have to collect that.
Mm-hmm. Collect.
But, that's what she's getting paid for.
Right.
That's what she's getting paid for.
She's seen it before,
She's seen it before. And she was like, did you fill out the labels on the containers? And I was like, no. And she was like, you need to do that. So she brings out these bright neon green labels.
Oh my God.
And I have to take out the containers on the counter.
Ew.
And fill out a label and stick it on in front of everyone.
Yeah, were there other people in the lobby?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I thought it was going to be just kind of like a one and done, here it is, bye. No, I was like sitting down, had to talk to her, had to be like, it was frozen, had to remember what time it happened.
Didn't you have to like pay or like do something different?
Yes, they also charged me a lot of money just to drop it off.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm the one that did the work. You just collected it.
I should be getting paid.
You should be paying me.
This is Ruby Mundok's feces here.
Yeah. I also had to do a treadmill stress test for my heart.
Like a hamster?
Pretty much. I went on this treadmill and they started it at like just a normal slow walk on a normal low incline. And they kept putting it up.
So literally like a hamster.
I was like 6 feet tall at one point because it was inclined so much. Like, and I asked her, I was like,
good workout.
I was like, when there's really tall people here, like, do you ever have issues of them hitting the ceiling, like with their head?
What'd she say?
She said no. Oh. I was like, interesting.
Was it a low ceiling?
It was low. Like I felt close to the ceiling, and I'm only 5'5".
Right.
So it was just a journey.
Yeah.
I still have no answers. Because why would I?
All of that you went through, the poop, the hamster
the stress
test,
and the sweat.
Nothing. It was all for nothing
yet.
That's awesome.
I found out I have a vitamin D deficiency.
Okay, yeah.
So I've been taking supplements.
Awesome. So she's a supplement girly.
I'm a supplement girl.
That's all to say. It's so normal. Listen, we're all
so
humans.
Normal,
we're all humans, and we have humbling moments.
We have humbling moments.
Do you think that poop? Sorry. Do you think? I don't know what else to call it.
Poo.
Do you think? I feel like that's worse.
That moment.
Do you think that moment was your most humbling moment?
Absolutely not.
Really?
I have had so many humbling moments.
Could you pick one to be your most humbling moment?
I need to think real quick.
Yeah, it's a tough question.
Like I might have written one down.
I'm trying to think. Here's my thing, and I've definitely talked about this before. I rarely feel embarrassed. I think that I do a lot of embarrassing things, but I don't think they're embarrassing. And as long, like, embarrassment is a mindset. you're only embarrassed if you let yourself feel embarrassed, and I just never let myself feel embarrassed.
I do.
But, and that's where we're different.
Yeah.
I just have no shame, to an extent. So if I were to think about my most humbling moment, I'm not sure, you know what, one just came to mind. Okay. I have some. Okay. I have one in mind, if you don't mind me.
You can go first because I'm still thinking.
Maybe my story will remind you of yours.
I hope.
Perhaps.
I know. I have so many.
Yeah.
It's hard to choose.
I think I don't even know if I would call it humbling. It was humbling. Okay.
It was humbling.
All right. You don't even know what it is.
But I know that it was probably humbling.
So, as I mentioned, I spent the summer in New York. And I lived with my sister and her fiance, slept on the couch. Comfiest couch, by the way. Like, sometimes I think it's nicer than my bed. I don't know. And the 1 week, Emily and Owen had gone away. They had gone to the beach for the week. So it was just me in the apartment, which is fine because, like, I'm at work half the day. Like, I come home, I sleep, whatever. It was whatever. And it was a Thursday. I was having a really good day. We had an intern mixer where I got to meet the CEO of Warner Brothers, David Zaslav, King. And afterwards, I met up with some intern friends. We got drinks. It was peak. And it was one of those days where I was walking home. I was like, I am so happy to be alive. I have such a zest for life. Texting my friends. I was like, guys, I love you. Never give up on your dreams. Love ya. I was also a little tipsy. I get off the subway and I'm like, I'm going to stop for a twisted tea. I deserve a twisted tea tonight. So I went to the little deli on the corner right by my sister's apartment. We call it Rat Deli because there's rats that hang outside of it.
Oh.
Went in, got 2 twisted teas and paid for it with my card. Whatever. I go back to my apartment. I enjoy one of the twisted teas, save the other one for Friday, And then I woke up Friday morning. I got on the subway. I used Apple Pay to get on the subway because that's the easiest. I have another epic intern event where I got to go to the Food Network kitchen and make dumplings.
That's
I was
cool.
So bad at making them, but they were good.
Yeah.
And then on the way home, I'm like, I need to get more books because I'm a reader, now, guys. I read books for fun. So much evolution. So I stop at Barnes & Noble. I get books and I usually use Apple Pay in the city, but for some reason sometimes I'm like, let me use my card. I don't know. If I don't think they'll have Apple Pay, I'm like, I'll just use my card instead of asking, do you guys have Apple Pay? Who does that? Anyways, I get 5 books. I walk up to the cashier and I put my books down and she's like, do you have an email with us? And I'm like, yeah. And I'm starting to say my email, spell it out, pull out my wallet. Debit card is not there. And my ears literally started ringing. This girl was like, what's the rest of your email? I was like, just give me a second. I go, do you guys have Apple Pay? And she goes, yeah. And I'm like, oh, okay. Pay with Apple Pay. And I just go outside and just stand there.
You still got the books.
Yeah, well, I'm not going to be like, oh, actually, I can't buy. That would have been so embarrassing. I bought the books and then I think I literally texted Ruby. I think I was like, I'm stopping at Barnes, best day ever. I'm stopping at Barnes & Noble. And then I was like, Ruby, I can't find my card. So I go outside. I'm going through my backpack. It's nowhere to be found. And then I'm like, okay, well, I got on the subway, got my fare home because it costs money to travel. Got on the subway, turned my card off. I was like, I'm done. And I was like, okay, when did I use my card last? I was like, all right, I just used it to get the twisted tea. It's at the deli. Super fine, super cool. So I get off the subway, I stop at the deli, I go in, and I'm like, hi, I was here yesterday. And he goes, oh yeah, you bought the 2 twisted teas. I was like, not the time, man. I left my pink debit card here. I can show you my ID. And he pulled out 5 debit cards. I was like, oh, this happens a lot. And he was like, I don't see it. And I was like, okay. And then I'm manic going home because also my sister isn't around, Owen isn't around. What am I supposed to do? So I go home, I'm tearing all my shit up and I'm like, it's nowhere to be found. And I call my mom and I'm like, Mom, you're never going to believe this. I lost my debit card. How can I be so stupid? And then she's like, you need to look at your bank app and make sure that there's no charges. So I get on my bank app, I look. 15
charges.
15 charges. And it's not oh, Best Buy, he or she or they bought a TV. It is 15 different charges at 15 different delis in $30 amounts. If you're gonna listen, I'm not gonna steal anyone's card, But if you best believe I'm going to Dwayne Reed, I'm going to Target, and I'm stocking up on gift cards. That is the way to do it. They don't sell gift cards at delis. They sell, sandwiches and Twisted Tea.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh, like he's going on a deli world tour right now. Like there was some in Brooklyn, there was some in Manhattan.
I mean, look.
I'd like to think that.
Would you blame them?
I would never.
No.
Especially if it was pink, like some girly girl lost her card. Anyways,
but delis,
I rested well at night thinking that it was someone who needed the money and just wanted food. So you can have it. You can have it.
A lot of food.
I called my bank and I was like, hey, can you, I lost my, it was so funny because I was like, it wasn't like my card was stolen. It was I lost my card and then someone stole it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know how someone can steal your card and they just start charging it?
Yeah.
It was my fault. So I had left it somewhere and I'm on the phone. I'm like, hey, girl from my bank.
Hey.
I lost my card and then someone stole it. And she was like, okay. And she was like going through my recent purchases. And I was like, she was like, all right, so this margarita Thursday, that was you. And I was like, yeah. And she's like, this deli charge, that was you. I was like, yeah, I bought Twisted Tea. And she was like, what about this deli purchase on Friday? Was that you? I was like, no. And she was like, Barnes & Noble? I was like, oh yeah, I did buy books. See, I was at Barnes & Noble and I was going to pay with my card, but I didn't have my card, but I still had my card connected to Apple Pay. So I was like, okay, well, while I'm here, I'll buy the books with Apple Pay. And then after that, I turned my card off. And she was like, okay, so the Barnes & Noble was you. And I was like, yeah, but that was it. And she was like, okay. And she was like, she just like went through my transactions with me. And it was
that has happened
humbling.
To me.
Yeah.
And it was like 4 Jersey Mike's orders in a row.
Yeah.
But they were all me.
Something about someone explaining them out. Like,
yeah. Being like 7:37 at Jersey Mike's.
Right. I'm like, yep, that was me.
15:42 at Jersey Mike's.
It's just like, it's like, all right, lady, like, do we really have to do this?
Like, I get it.
Yeah. But it was funny. And she was nice. She was like, there's a charge last night at a deli at midnight. Was that you? And I was like, no, I was asleep. Like, I was tired. I'm an over-explainer and also like pretended I was friends with this lady from my bank, never talked to her before.
That's what you gotta do though.
Yeah. She was like, all right, like, we'll file a claim, whatever. And we filed a claim and I got disputed, so I got my money back. Nay moment. But what else is funny is like, you need money to travel in New York. Mm-hmm. You need money. I needed money to get food. I was going to get McDonald's that night because it was the end of the week. And so I called my mom again and I was like, Mom, what do I do? And she was like, all right, there's this thing called Western Union where we can upload money basically, and then I can go to a grocery store that is Western Union approved and get that money cashed out. And so she was like, I'll send money to the grocery store down the street. You can go get it. And I was like, okay. Also one of the hottest days of the year. Like it was so hot. So I walked all the way over to Western Union, went in this grocery store, went up to this lady at the service desk. And I was like, hey, I have a Western Union money order. And she's like, okay, let me see your ID. Give her my ID. 15 minutes go by. I'm standing there. Probably 10. I'm dramatic.
It's fine.
10 minutes go by. I'm standing there. She looks at me and she goes, this isn't working. And I was like, what? And she was like, it's not processing your ID. And I was like,
well, processing
I was
yourself.
Like, it's not fake. I don't own if this is real. This is me. I'm Georgia Hall. I'm from Pennsylvania. This is my address. And she's like, it's not working. I'm sorry. I tried like a bunch of different ways. And I literally stood there and I was like, what do I do? And she was like, I don't know. I started bawling.
No.
I was like, I'll be right back. I went outside the grocery store and I just sobbed. And like, that's how I was like, this is so, like, I'm a New Yorker. I'm crying on the street. I'm crying on the street.
I'm crying on the streets in New York.
I called my sister and she was at the beach and I was like, I think I texted her and was like, hi, I'm crying. I don't know what I did.
I'm crying.
But she called me and I was like, I don't want to disrupt your beach day. And she was like, no. And she like talked me through it, whatever. So then I called my mom and I was like, it's not working. And she was like, okay. She canceled the order. Or no, yeah. She canceled the order and she was like, just try again tomorrow. And I was like, all right. So order was canceled, whatever. Walked back, humbled. Emily and Owen ordered me McDonald's from Jersey.
Good.
And I got it. I ate dinner. I watched a really bad Nicholas Hoult movie.
Okay.
I watched X-Men. So bad.
He's an X-Men?
Yeah, he plays... Okay, he's... Okay.
And is it...
He's...
Stretch.
He's cute at first. Then he pulls his grippers out, and they're like claw feet.
Ew.
And then he turns blue. Like he's a blue monster. It was awful.
Okay.
I think I gave it 1 star. And then I watched another movie. I think I watched The Proposal.
Okay.
But then I was good. And then the next day, what my mom did was she had a security question instead of my ID. Gotcha. So I had to show them my ID that it was me. But then the security question, where do you go to school? Millersville. And I got the money.
Yeah.
But then Emily and Owen came back that night. So it was cool anyways. But I think that whole process, like being, I forgot. I had to get a Metro card.
Right.
Because I use Apple Pay to scan and get on the subway. And I was meeting my friend Maggie on Saturday.
Right.
So I had to get a Metro card. So Saturday rolls around. I got my cash. Emily isn't home yet. Maybe she came home Sunday. My memory is slipping.
Whew. So
I get my Metro card. I go up to the screen. The screen is like 100,000 years old. I'm pushing. Nothing's happening. So I stand there for like 10 minutes. I'm sweating. Yeah. I put in my $20 bill and I get my Metro card. I paid for like $15, I think. So then I just was like, I'll get $5 change. I need it. Did that. Beep, whoop. Thanks for the Metro card. My change came out in dollar coins. Actually, I think I paid for 12, got $8 coins. 8 Goldblums. 8 Dave and Buster's looking ass coins. And I'm like, great. What am I I'm going to go up to the bar tonight. I'm going to go, yeah, hey bartender. Give me a scotch.
Give me the
scotch on the rocks. Puts $7 coins in front of him. I was like, I'm going to get made fun of. I'm a pirate. Some pirate. I was like, you gotta be kidding me. Get out of here. Oh, I don't know why I was British there. Can I get a rum and coke, please? Thank you. No, but I literally was like, great. Awesome. I still have them, by the way. Maybe I'll raffle them off. Who wants some? Got on the subway, put them in my wallet, and then I was like, Maggie, can you please, God, pay for our drinks? And my Venmo worked since it's linked to my bank account and on my card. So it worked out fine.
Good.
Anyways, that was in collection one of the most humbling moments of my life. Were you able to come up with them?
Yes.
Awesome.
I have like 3 things I'm thinking of.
Okay.
Guys, look, there's just so many. I can't choose a top one. And honestly, the stool test might have been my top one. After looking back, the more I think about it, we had gone out for Mexican before too. So I was like, tonight's the night. And my mom and Jake were standing outside of the door, and they were like,
Is it coming out, honey?
No, here's the thing I forgot to say. Sorry if you're grossed out by stuff, mute this right now. I kept accidentally peeing into the
And you can't use
cup.
it when you...
No, because it gets... Well, so I would have to pour it out, wipe it out, and start over. I kept peeing
Ruby,
by accident.
that's your most humbling moment.
It was so funny.
But let's share some more.
So another one, and this is also along the line of stomach issues. There's just been so many.
It all comes back.
It does. So I was down in Delaware with Jake visiting my cousins in Lewis, and there's like so many nice walking trails and stuff. And I think I had a nice Caesar salad for lunch. I was just,
wash it down with a Diet Coke?
I think I just had water. I don't even remember. We were at their house, so and then afterwards, Jake and I were like, you know what? Let's go for a walk in the woods. Like, there's a nice trail.
So romantic.
And so we're walking. We're feeling good. Like, it's a very active town, so everybody's out. We're taking a stroll. We pass over, the trail where Joe Biden fell off his bike.
Classic.
Iconic spots. And I start to feel a little gurgle, in my stomach. And I'm like, oh, you gotta be Josh.
Not here.
So I'm like, Jake.
You gotta be Josh Shapiroing me.
We're about maybe 2 or 3 miles away from the house. Like, we had walked far.
Yeah.
And I was like, Jake, we need to turn around.
It's over.
And he was like, he knows. He was like, okay. And
love that he just knew.
We just start walking and continue walking.
Did you shit yourself?
I didn't shit my pants.
Okay.
I came close, but it was to the point where I have records on my Apple Watch. My pace increased. I was like doing a very speedy walk. When your stomach hurts so bad you get the chills and the sweats simultaneously?
Yeah.
It was that. My heart rate went up to about 180.
That's crazy.
Which is like
That's crazy.
my active cardio
you were
heart
on a
rate.
Mission.
And it was like we got into the neighborhood, but we were still like maybe half a mile away, and I was booking it.
Yeah.
And Jake kept trying to talk to me, and I was like, "Shut up! Don't talk to me."
Right. When you gotta go to the bathroom really bad, nothing else matters.
It was so bad, and we ran inside, and I was hoping my family wasn't home, but they were all home, and I sped up those stairs and unleashed the beast. It hurt. It was so, all of those people we passed, and I was just like...
They didn't stand a chance.
No. It would have been more humbling if I did shit my pants. Thankfully, I didn't.
Well, that's what I thought it was going to be.
But it was just so...
you made it.
It was
That's
more
impressive.
internally humbling because I was just like, I can't believe I'm in this
embarrassed.
position.
But you know what? Like, I get so, like, I feel like we should normalize going to the bathroom.
Can we please?
Like, I saw a comedian this summer. I saw Andrew Dismukes from Saturday Night Live. Shout out him. He's not listening, but shout out him.
He might be.
And he, in his sketch, he was talking about, he was like, I hate it when people go to the bathroom and they're like, oh, it smells like shit in there. He's like, no wonder it smells. He was like screaming. He was like, of course it smells in there. It's a bathroom. You go in there to dispose of your waste. And that is so true.
Thank you.
We're all like, ew, someone farted. Ew, the bathroom smells like poop. Ew, someone's pooping next to me. We all do it. We
just
all drew
suck it up.
Grow up. Grow up.
As somebody who is actively seeing a gastro doctor, grow up.
I mean, yeah, grow up. That's not funny. It's normal.
No.
Normalize it.
Normalize it.
We all do it.
Another humbling moment that hasn't actively happened yet. It might happen when Spotify Wrapped comes out.
Oh.
So, as you guys know, I love the movie musical In the Heights.
She does.
So what?
Don't ask her to perform the opening number. She will do
Lights
the whole
Up
thing.
in Washington Heights. I will do it. And you know, I like to listen to the soundtrack, especially when I'm on a longer drive, because, you know, I know all the words and it's fun to perform. I didn't know I liked the soundtrack that much. I look on stats for Spotify the other day to just check out where my Spotify Wrapped is heading. Number 1 song, When You're Home from In the Heights.
And I think the best part is this movie came out 3 years ago.
It came out during the pandemic.
I think if it was a movie this year, would it still be humbling? Yeah, because it's a movie musical.
Much.
But you are still listening to this enough to have it as your number one
song of
3
the year.
years after it comes out.
And I was like,
it's almost impressive.
And I was like, okay, this is fine. I'm working really hard right now to beat it.
You can't beat it.
But then I looked at my most listened to songs ever.
Don't tell me.
In the Heights, the title track was number 1. The 8-minute long title track.
Bro.
Do you know how many times I've had to listen to an 8-minute long song for it to be my number 1 played song on Spotify
I can't defend you.
Above Leave the Door Open by Bruno Mars and Silk Sonic.
And yet I'm the one who faces backlash for being a theater kid. You don't see musicals in my top songs.
Look.
Ruby Mundock is a theater kid. You heard it here.
Thankfully, Leave the Door Open and In the Heights are teetering. So
because you're cheating.
Leave the Door Open might be number 1 now.
Because you're listening to it more on purpose. But your soul,
my soul,
in your soul, in your being, your top song ever is In the Heights.
That's so.
And you can't beat that.
That's so.
You can try, but the charts don't lie. We saw it.
Yeah.
You said it.
I remember seeing In the Heights for the first time.
Yeah.
I saw it at a drive-in with my friends Maddie and Adia.
Yes.
And we sat in the back of a van and we watched In the Heights.
Changed your life.
And I know someone in it.
I remember when I first met you, you were talking about In the Heights, which is so funny. Now that you're right. Now that I reflect on it, because guys, we've said this before many times, but Ruby and I first met in MUTV, and
I remember what was happening.
It was the first episode of the one show called The Trend, where we talk about like what's trending in social media, and the Usnavi all night, you barely even dance was trending, and Ruby wrote a story about In the Heights,
and I was mic checking and I was going, check 1 2 3.
Yep.
This is Benny on the dispatch.
And I remember you were like, oh, like I just saw it the other weekend and I know a dancer in it. And I was like, wow, that's cool. She knows famous people. Yeah. But
and here we are,
funny
2
thinking
years
about
later.
That was like one of the first things I knew about
2 years later.
You.
Oh my God.
So yeah, I think that's humbling.
That's very humbling. Speaking of going to the movies, as everyone knows, we go to the movies a lot. And there's been a lot of good movies this summer.
Yeah,
so I think we should do a little breakdown, maybe a little ranking of our favorite movies we saw this summer.
That's easy
Time
for
to pull up Letterboxd.
Because I've been ranking movies on Letterboxd.
Ruby's
been using Letterboxd more this summer,
recently.
Guys. Let's talk about that.
I just, I miss the early episodes where we did a lot of stuff like this. Like we did like fun rankings, like rank stuff.
Okay.
So let's bring it back.
All right. So we're going to rank our top 5 movies of the summer. Movies that can be included in this, let's list off a couple. We got obviously Barbie, obviously Oppenheimer, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Guardians of the Galaxy, Asteroid City, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, Part 1, because there's 2 different parts. Oh, yeah.
I didn't know that, and when the ending happened, I was like, what? This is awful. And then they were like, Part 2 is coming. And I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, okay. I think that's a fair list, though.
Yeah.
All right, coming in hot, number 5, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Don't
bring it up around me.
I am a sucker for goodbyes in movies, just because like I get really attached to things, and I would say that I'm very attached to the Guardians of the Galaxy, and I felt like that was a very good end to that franchise, I guess, whatever you call that.
It was a really good
It was
ending.
Also, yeah, very emotional movie. I thought it was well done. Love the cast, as always. I loved it. Whatever. Do you want to share your number 5?
Sure.
All right.
I think that it also was my number 5. I thought it was really, really good. Besides all of the parts with the animals, I loved it. I genuinely have never cried that much at a movie. And this goes back to our previous conversation of humbling moments. I sobbed anytime those gosh darn animals came on the screen.
Yeah.
And Jake can attest to this. I was doing the gasping for air,
I cried.
And it was even just I knew what was gonna happen. Even during the happy moments, I was still sobbing anytime they were on the screen.
I didn't cry that much with the animals. I did cry. I cried more at the ending. I don't know, just bittersweet. My sister-in-law, Kelsey, I don't think she's watched it yet because she knows that it's animal related and she can't do it.
I genuinely don't know if I'll ever be able to rewatch it, but it was so good. I gave it a 4. I gave it a
4 as well.
Nice.
All right. Number 4, and this is so interesting.
Oh, this is tough.
This is so interesting, but my number 4 is Oppenheimer.
Okay.
I loved Oppenheimer. Don't even get me started.
Look,
I loved it.
In the grand scheme of things, guys, we watch so many movies that these being our top 5 means they are of the highest standards. Right. So don't take the 5th and 4th spot and be like, oh, she hated it.
Right.
No.
We loved all of these. The movies. Oppenheimer was great. It was beautiful. It might be my favorite Christopher Nolan movie. I love Cillian Murphy.
She does.
Wow.
A little too much sometimes.
And he was great in this. Florence Pugh, Emily Blunt, just perfect casting, perfect videography.
Roderick.
Mwah. Josh Peck. Drake and Josh, what are you doing here?
You're pressing the button. Laughing whenever he came on.
I know. I saw it in IMAX, and I literally thought I was going to die. It's so funny because with a movie like Oppenheimer, you know what happens. It's history. But I was like, oh my God, it's not going to work. It's not going to work.
I was on the edge of my seat.
Yes, and I was actively, my heart was racing. It was more intense than any horror movie. It was so good.
Yeah.
So Oppenheimer's my number 4. I gave it a 4.5 stars.
Oppenheimer is also my number 4, and I also gave it a 4.5.
This is crazy.
I also loved it. I'm a big sucker for World War II history. It's my favorite time period to learn about and to watch. I said this once on our Instagram stories when someone had asked, but my great uncle or great uncle
was
actually
J. Robert Oppenheimer.
No, but he was one of the chemists that actually worked on the bomb.
That's so cool.
So take that as you will. A little look into history. I loved it. I also saw it in IMAX, and it was my first IMAX movie in about like 10 years, so I forgot what IMAX looked like.
Yeah.
Obviously, you know, it being 3 hours long, it's tough for me.
I'm shocked that
it's tough for me to sit through
and gave it such a high rating.
But it was so engaging that like it didn't even feel like 3 hours.
Yeah.
So, yeah. On to 3.
Love that they call him Oppie also, because that is so Georgia coded.
It is. Hey, Oppie, baby.
All right. Number 3. Coming in hot, we have Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem. Guys, I know what you're thinking. Georgia, you're a little boy. Why is this your number 3? What's wrong with you?
No, they're thinking, Georgia, you're a little boy. That makes sense.
True. Guys, this movie was actually phenomenal, and I can name 3 witnesses who will agree with me. It is so good. It's a Seth Rogen movie, so it's hilarious, and I think I love the Ninja Turtles, always have, and I think what makes it so awesome is that actual teenage boys like voiced the Ninja Turtles. You don't see that.
No.
And they were all in the same recording booth. Once again, you don't see that. So like half the lines were improvised. The animation was so cool. The story was cool. It was funny. Like I loved it. I had a great time. Hunter, our friend Hunter, he literally, I showed him the trailer. I was like, please go see this. And he was like, that looks stupid. I'm not watching that. It doesn't look funny. And he gave it a 4 and he apologized profusely. So point me. But yeah, I think I gave it a 5.
Wow.
I gave it a 5.
Okay. My number 3 is No Hard Feelings
with
Jennifer Lawrence.
See this. I forgot this came out this summer.
It's streaming soon, so we can watch it.
Facts, yes.
It is, guys, when I tell you I was crying laughing, I have never laughed so hard at a movie.
That's crazy.
It was so funny. I saw it twice. It's genuinely like one of my favorite movies now. Jennifer Lawrence is one of my favorite actresses. She's so
back.
Funny. She's so funny. It was, oh my God. I just need to go watch it again. Like I'm urged. I'm itching to watch it.
You've been talking about it like all summer.
I have talked it up because none of my friends have seen it. And I'm like, guys, I need to talk about it with someone because it's so funny. So yeah, I gave it a 4.
Nice.
I don't know why it's...
Maybe you'd give it a higher score if you watch it again.
Yeah, look, my star ratings are a little weird.
Right.
You know.
You're just getting back to Letterboxd. It's all right.
It's so funny. If you're looking for a good comedy, go a little raunchy at some parts, but what's not?
True.
Okay, number 2.
Number 2, final 2 here. My number 2 is Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. Wow.
Yeah.
I don't even have words. Like, I think it's better than the first one. In my opinion, it's better than the first one. And I loved the first one. But it was the animation, the plot, the character development, the voice actors, the cameos, like it was so perfect. And like, I saw it in Brooklyn too. And Miles is from Brooklyn. So it was just like so peak.
She was actually in the movie.
I was, yeah. Look for me.
She's looking for her debit card.
30 minutes in, you see me. Where's my... I can't do a Brooklyn accent.
Hey, where's my debit card?
Anyways,
sorry to all Brooklyners.
I'm speechless. I'm truly speechless. It was a great movie. If you haven't watched it, you need to. If you have watched it, watch it again. Amazing.
My number 2 is one that I recently saw and I have not stopped thinking about it. Gran Turismo.
Yeah.
I did not think I would like this movie as much as I did. I have not stopped thinking about it. It's about like it's a real story. It's based on a real story, which is first of all just so cool. I love when movies are like that because you like forget and then you remember after the movie and you're like, oh my God. So it's like this guy, like they played the video game and then they became real. It's so good. I'm a big sports movie person. I love just like the like downfall and then they come back and then they win and you're like, whoa. It's so good. And I literally might go see it again like this week. Like I want to see it again so bad. I saw it in IMAX on National Cinema Day. It was great in IMAX.
Interesting because like I didn't know that movie existed until I saw Spider-Man and I saw the trailer and I was like, what is this?
Yeah, I just remember seeing the trailers because Jake played that video game and was like, oh, video game, like that looks sick. And so I was like, oh, I'll go with Jake to see it. And then I like it more than he. I mean, he liked it, but I I'm still thinking about it.
Wow.
number one, I think, goes without being said.
The more that I think about this being the number one, I'm like, is it my number one? But I think it is my number one.
Every time that's been happening to me, I'm like, did I love it as much as I did? And then I watch it again, and I'm like, yeah.
Number one for both me and Ruby is Barbie. 5 stars. I forgot to say that I gave Spider-Man 5 stars, but I think that's implied.
Yeah.
5 stars for Barbie. Perfect casting. Perfect soundtrack.
Perfect everything.
Perfect plot lines.
Perfect
nailed.
Sets,
perfect sets.
styling,
costumes. Dialogue.
Everything.
Like
everything.
Message. It's just, and it's
perfect.
I think what makes it so great also is like it had a lot of hype.
Yes.
4 months.
That marketing.
4 months, all you saw was Barbie. And so it's like, I went in with high expectations. I was like, this is going to be good.
We wore pink.
Yeah. You wear pink. Yeah.
You know,
and
it's an experience.
It is. It's surpassed all expectations. The Barbenheimer weekend, like that.
So good.
Can't wait to tell my kids. I did the double feature.
That's going to be in the history books.
Yeah.
That's going to be in the history books.
I did the double feature, and I've never seen our country more united
than Barbenheimer weekend.
It was insane. But yeah, Barbie, wow.
Barbie was just like, I grew up playing with Barbies, and to see it all like come together
so accurately.
It's just so good. And the messaging and just like everything that like women go through, like they captured it so well.
Yep.
I like, oh my God, I can't wait till it's streaming and we can just watch it every day.
Yep.
The soundtrack has been on repeat. I sobbed so much.
Great movie.
So good. And you know what? Like, people made points about this, but this was such like summer of the girlies.
Yeah.
Because we had Barbie. We had the Eras tour. We had the Renaissance tour.
True.
We had Summer I Turned Pretty.
True.
It truly was just like the summer of... my favorite thing lately has been saying, I'm just a 22-year-old teenager. Like, I'm a 22-year-old teenage girl.
Well, you're 22. Why did I hesitate?
I don't
wow,
know.
that was weird. Ooh.
I'm a 22-year-old teenage girl.
Yeah.
I'm a 20-something teenager. Like, this was the summer for 20-something teenagers.
Yeah.
It was so good.
And mic drop at that.
And
I think that's the perfect spot to end.
Me too.
Wow. We're so back.
We're so back.
We're so back.
And now it's still the summer of the girlies because we're back, except this is going to be fall.
Yeah.
So
it's the fall of the girlies.
Anyways.
So we started with the word grain. And we ended on... Summer. Point blank. We ended on summer.
Yeah.
Interesting. Grain
to
summer. Interesting.
Yeah, very interesting.
Makes sense to me.
Me too.
You guys followed along the whole ride.
Yeah. Wow.
We are so happy to be back in the stew.
Yep.
So like just full of joy and wonder and happiness.
And you know, we bounced back like we never left.
Yep. I think we worried a few of you. I think you thought we weren't going to come back.
A few of you came up to us on campus
and said, when's the podcast coming back? And we said,
a few of you
maybe
said,
never.
Are you ever going to do the podcast again? I don't know.
I don't know. We like to keep you on your feet.
But here we are.
We ghosted you for a little bit.
But here we are.
But wow.
We're back.
The content we're going to put out. You're not even ready.
Nope. But just remember, we are busy.
Yeah. Keep
so
that in
don't
mind.
get mad at us.
Please. We told you once a month.
Yeah.
Just like your period.
Anyways.
That's all the time we have for today, guys.
Thanks so much for listening. We are back. Episode 31 of the show.
That's insane.
The first episode of season 3.
Thank God.
Yeah. Let's see where we end up.
Follow us on social medias.
Yes.
Oh, why did
Social.
Follow us on social media. You're going to want to see all of our cool new graphics and videos.
Instagram and TikTok at Hyper Talkative Podcast. Twitter /X, which we don't even really use anymore.
We'll be back. No, we're coming back. We're coming back.
Hyper Talkative. And we have a website, hypertalkativepodcast.com. We have a link tree in all of our bios that can get you to the other things.
Yep.
Yeah.
Stay in the loop.
That's all we ask.
We'll be silly.
Yeah. And always feel free to message us questions, and you could be featured as our random question of the day.
We're not using the generator anymore. We're just going to ask you guys because we know you guys have questions.
Exactly. Wow. For the first time in season 3 and for the first time in about 7,000 years.
So true.
Peace be with you.
And with you, Ruby.
Thank you.
Hyper Talkative Podcast is brought to you by us. Just us.
Unless you want to sponsor us. Wink, wink.
Hyper Talkative is recorded at the Candy Factory Co-working and Social Club in downtown Lancaster.
Our theme music was done by help from Johnny Jed Music, and the show is recorded, edited, and published by Georgia Hall and Ruben Murdoch.